let's take a quick look at how we can take a movie outline or script outline and convert it into an Excel document. Right now, there's this text file here that's not really formatted. It's not formatted at all, aside from the carriage returns. And we want to make that something that's readable for our production, our team, inside of Excel. We could do this in any application, but for right now, we're going to do it in Excel. I have a video showing how to format this in Word if you want to see that. But this video will show you how to do it in Excel. So I have Excel open. This is Excel 2016. So I go ahead and open up a blank workbook. And let's take a quick look at the user interface here. We're not going to go through everything in the user interface. In fact, I'll put some links down below if you want to know more about the user interface. But on the basic terms here, we have a ribbon that goes across here, and this is the same for all of the Office products. In fact, the Office products, they're trying to make it to where they're basically the same across the board. You're simply going to be dealing with the different contexts, whether it be Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or anything like that, even Access. They all have this user interface setup. They want to make it as similar as possible so that way you could be more productive in your work when you're dealing with any of the programs that are designed to actually work in synergy. They're designed to work together, so that's why they want them to be similar. So here you have your ribbon, you have your menu up here, so you have your file, your home, your data entry, all the way down the line, and don't worry about going through each one of these. Worry about what you need for the project at hand, and you can learn that way. You don't necessarily have to become a scholar in Excel to be able to use Excel on the most highest level. So that's our ribbon, that's our menu, and this is our formula bar here. In future videos, we'll go far deeper into the formula bar, but the formula bar is where you can actually type into this formula bar and it'll go inside of each cell. Now it's called the formula bar simply because you can enter a formula. So let's say if I just put some text here, literally some text here. You see, the cell that I have selected will determine where that text will go from the formula bar. Now, I can select the cell. Let's say if I select D1, and I know that this is D1 because over here, this tells me the column, and then it tells me the row. So I'm in column D, and these are all the columns that go from the top to the bottom. And then the row is from left to right. So row 1, column D. If I have column D, row 1 selected, and I type some text here, it's going to go right inside of there. Now, another point that you want to maintain to increase your productivity in Excel is the fact that enter is not the same as it is in Word. If I were to select column D1 and hit enter, the enter key, it moves down. So I can keep on moving down. If I were to hit the tab key, it moves to the right. So you can move down and to the right by selecting either one. So if I were here and I wanted to go to the right, I'll hit tab. And if I wanted to type something here and go down, I hit enter. It'll go to the next row. The formula bar is also good for putting in special formulas. So if I were to do something like this, and we'll go into this a little bit further in the future, for right now, just understand that this is the idea. If I were to go inside of F1 and I were to type 1 plus 1, now nothing really is going to happen because that simply says 1 plus 1. However, if I were to put an equal sign there, it'll actually calculate that. And that's the advantage of having the formula bar there. We can do a lot of things with this understanding. Just understand when you put an equals in front of anything here, Excel assumes that you're creating some sort of formula that needs to be calculated somehow or a function that needs to run. So these concepts, aside from the actual formula itself, is what we need to know to be able to convert this outline into an Excel outline. The other thing we need to know is the fact that these cells, so I'm selecting these cells and I'm hitting the delete key to get rid of those. However, I could get rid of all of those by holding down the left mouse button and dragging, and then hitting delete all the way across so I can select everything. The one thing I need to know is how to format these cells. So if I put my mouse in between A and B, you'll see 2 arrows. That allows me to stretch out cell A. And if I go between 1 and 2, it also allows me to stretch out A1 as well. So I can actually format the cells by just moving these around and stretching them out. The other thing I'm able to do is when I select the cell, I can utilize some of these font parameters here. For instance, this right here is the background, so I can go ahead and change the background of any cell by selecting the cell and choosing this, and I can select the text color by choosing this right here. So if I were to select the cell, go to the formula bar and start typing, you can see that the text itself turns to that color. Just to let you know, you don't have to type into the formulas bar to be able to put text inside of a cell. You can actually select the cell and just start typing. It'll go inside the cell. You just want to be careful sometimes, because sometimes you have something in this cell that you don't want to type over, you just want to add to, so you want to go up here and add to that. Another thing you need to understand is that, like I said before, if I'm inside of a cell, there's two ways to select the cell. There's the base selection, so when I select the cell, you can see there's this green box over it, and then there's the edit mode selection. So if I double click it, I'm inside now the cell to edit the cell, which means if I hit enter, it's going to go to the cell underneath and exit the edit mode. It won't give you a carriage return like some people believe. However, if I was to double click on that cell and I wanted to edit it and create a carriage return, what I need to do is hold down the Alt key and then hit the enter to be able to get to the next row. So these are really interesting tips actually, that will get you through using Excel a lot faster and much more efficient. So now let's go ahead and I'm going to Control Z to undo that. I'm hitting Control Z over and over again until I get back to the blank sheet here. So what I want to do first and foremost is name this sheet. In Excel, you could have multiple sheets. Right now, I'm in sheet 1. If I were to click on this plus, I'll have a second sheet. So in this sheet, I can have some stuff, and in sheet 1, I can have some other stuff. In sheet 2, I can just go ahead and select, right click on that and delete that if I don't want this sheet. And now I'm back to sheet 1. If I want to rename this sheet, I can double click this and it'll go into edit mode, and I can name this something like outline. Now I can go ahead and start formatting this. So over here, as you can see, I have my one-liner here. So I'm going to want that to be, all of these here to be maybe titles. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here, and we're going to format it later. We're just going to place everything first, and then I'm going to highlight this over here. I'm highlighting it. Now I'm hitting Control C to copy it, and I'm just going to paste that in there. That's my one-liner. Now my background, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go ahead and create another tab, and I'm going to double click and change that to background. I'm going to copy that and put that inside of here, and I'm going to take this background, copy it, and put it inside A1. So inside of A1 I have that, and inside of A2 I have the next thing. Now don't worry about the formatting, we're going to deal with that later. First of all, the first thing we're doing is just making sure we have the data in there where we want it. So we have this background, and actually, in fact, I can go ahead and select all of this part because all of this is the background. So I'm going to copy all that. I'm going to go back to this cell, and then when I select the cell, you can see that's the background, but when I select this one, you see that it has all that information in there. So I'm going to go inside the formulas bar, hit Control A to select everything in the formulas bar, and then I'm going to hit Control V to paste what I just now copied over here. So I'm just copying and pasting this information in there. You can see all that information's in there, but it only shows up partially inside of this cell, which is fine. We're going to fix that later. The only thing I need to do here is inside, I made a mistake and put this inside of cell 3, so I want to remove this out of cell 3. I'm just go ahead and delete that. We'll stretch this out just a little bit. And then I'm just going to do the same thing for this right here and the funeral and all these other things. Now yours won't be saying the funeral and the accident or anything like that. Yours won't even be saying 5 years later. Yours is going to say whatever it is your story says. You know, this is just a mock story, so you're really not going to be following through with this. Yours is going to say something completely different, including your background, your one-liner, that sort of stuff. So after you have all the tabs done, right? So we're going to go back here to this tab, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this row right here, all the way to row F, and we're going to highlight it. So I'm going to select this row, drag, highlight it, and now what I want to do is merge this. So while it's selected, I'm over here in the Home tab, I'm going to hit merge, and I make that out of one cell. The next thing I want to do down here is I'm going to select from cell 2. I'm going to go all the way to F again, from A to F, and I'm going to merge that. Now I have these merged cells. Now with 2 still selected, or just select A2, you can see here I have A2 selected. I am now going to go up here and hit word wrap, or wrap text. With that now selected, now all the text will be wrapped into one area. Okay, so now I can just go ahead and resize this to the size of the text. So now I have my outline. Now I'm going to go to my background and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to select from A to F, merge center, and then I'm going to select from A to F again, A2 to F2, and I'm going to merge and center, and then I am going to drag this out to the right size. So now what we have here, now I'm going to hold control down and use the middle mouse button and the scroll wheel, and I can go ahead and scroll to the zoom level that I want, the percentage of zoom that I want. So now I have my background and I have my outline here. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and maybe change some coloring here. So I'm going to drag and highlight all of this. I want there to be a border first. So I'm going to go to font, the font group. Go here and outside border. And as you can see, I get this outside border, and I'm going to highlight it again, except this time I actually want all borders. So I have these borders, so if I were to print it out, it'll come out that way. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to highlight A and B, A1 and A2 actually, and make all borders. So now I have those 2 borders there. For this part right here, I'm going to hit B up here, or Control B, which will make it bold, and then I can actually make the font size a lot bigger. Over here I'm going to do the same thing. Select this one, make it bold, and then make the font size a lot bigger. And you want to do that with all the categories here. Okay, so when we're done, what we want to be able to do is save this. I'm going to go to File, Save, or Save As. Save is fine. Go to Save, go to Browse, choose where you want to save it. I'm going to choose Documents, right? And then make sure you name this properly. So whatever your story outline is. Okay, and then go ahead and save that. And then from there you can use that. Make sure you save it in a place that you remember. If you don't remember where you saved it, there is a way to find out by going to File, go to Info, and then down here, Open File Location. We're actually able to learn a little bit about Excel and also be able to convert our outline, our story outline, into an Excel document that we can actually share with the team, share with ourselves, so that way we can keep track of everything that we're doing if necessary, and also get our project moving. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.